Hi guys, welcome to Eight of Cups Tarot and welcome to your astrology for April. So I'm trying to figure out all different ways to make these videos a little bit more efficient, time efficient for you, for me, for everybody. So what I decided to do was create kind of an overall astrology video, pre-record it before every video. So that way, if you watch multiple videos, you can kind of just fast forward through that. There'll be timestamps below and within the comment of every reading. So I'll make sure to get the timestamps in. That way you don't have to watch this 12 different times and I don't have to say it 12 different times, which makes me super excited. So really cool stuff for April. I feel like this is a month I've been saying there's gonna be a good month. I swear, in all of these, really dense and heavy months we've had for over a year now, everything has seemed very heavy. And April's gonna come in and it's gonna be like shot out like a cannon, okay? I'm picking up elements of like that northern hemisphere spring fever kind of stuff. Now, as I'm recording this, there's actually stuff going down with the spring breakers in Florida, and I think that kind of talks about the overall energy for April. Everybody gets to be let loose. There's a lot going on with the vaccines, so everybody's feeling a little bit more confident about stepping out socially. It's kind of like a purge. Now we've got so much action from Venus as she's starting this new cycle, which she's doing right now along with this entire last week of March. And she's really going to culminate with these moons on the Aries Libra axis this month. We're stepping into a lot of cardinal energy and we're bringing back the cardinal squares. It's a little bit of a tense time, but really in a good way. So Venus this month is kind of resetting our values and our priorities, right? But it's much deeper than the wanting. I feel like all year we've all been kind of like having ideas, or like, oh, I didn't realize I kind of really do like this thing over here. I would be interested in doing this thing over here. But now it's actually in the way that you feel. So if you're in jobs or relationships or any type of situation that isn't really speaking to you, it's going to get uncomfortable now. The universe is going to make you uncomfortable now. Pluto steps in this month and he really wreaks some havoc on our values, on our ambition, our relationships, and he questions, are we in the right place? And he teaches a lot of lessons and he's very intense. So there's all this flirty, fun energy. There's a lot of possibilities to meet some really profound people in our lives this month. We're working intensely with the nodes, so it's a very karmic month as well. And we have this dance all in the same sign. These planets are so active and there's so many aspects, and yet nothing that's, super heavy. Like I said, there's a lightness, there's a quickness to this month. Things are going to move very quickly. So going through the month, we're starting out with the Venus sextile Mars, which is going to give you that feeling like you're ready to get back out in the world. There's something that's very confident, very sexy about this Venus sextiling Mars. It's very flirty, it's very communicative, it's very expressive, and it's very courageous. If you are looking to date or start new relationships, it's a really good month for the dating profiles, okay? Towards the end of the month, we've got some Sun, Uranus, Venus, Uranus aspects coming in, which literally can translate into meeting people over the internet. So it's kind of a good time. And not even just dating, but even if you're getting into like specialized groups or groups that kind of hone in on your interests, you could have a lot of luck meeting other people, like-minded people, people that kind of vibe on your level. They enjoy your stuff. It's kind of almost a resetting of the tribes in a way. So expect to meet new people. Invite that energy into your life. Now on the 9th, we've got Mars square Neptune, and this is a little bit of a hairy part of the month. There's an element of dishonesty, and it could even lead to disappointment, and this could be where we put some really high expectations on things, on people, and we get pretty disappointed. And it's okay, because the thing is, we're really learning to be, independent on our own and not searching for things within others. Now, we have Pluto going retrograde at the end of the month. So all month long, all planets are moving forward, full steam ahead. But when Pluto hits that point, it means we've got to reset psychologically. So you can expect April to bring in the situations that makes us feel the need to self-analyze. And this Mars square Neptune is going to kind of lead up to that self-analyzation. What are some of your bad habits? Because in April, you're going to want to jump into things. So if you're somebody who just kind of jumps into love, then you could probably expect some harsher lessons. People don't turn out to be who they said they would be. Jobs don't turn out to pay what they said they would pay. Things aren't going to meet your expectation. It's also a time where you could slip into some pretty negative thought patterns. There could be some paranoia that comes up, having an issue trusting people, misjudging situations. There could really honestly just be innocent miscommunications as well. So take a look at that energy. Again, it's going to be things that later on in the month you're going to really want to look at. Why do I do this thing? If you're somebody like, for example, you're dating and you tend to ghost people, obviously it's because there's something within you that makes you feel like you can't communicate your feelings. So you might be in a situation where you ghost somebody or somebody ghosts you, and you really have to look into why these situations are a recurring pattern in your life. Just, a random example. That's how that energy will play out. So then we roll into the 10th, and we've got Venus sextile Jupiter, and this is like one of the sexiest days of the year. If there is an opportunity to go on vacation, go out of town for the weekend with your partner or your friends, do it now. It could definitely talk about overindulgence. So, if you've been working really hard at paying down debt, this will be kind of the weekend where you're like, well, screw it, let's fly to Florida for the weekend and really rack up those bills again. So you want to be careful of that. You want to be careful of any kind of overindulgence, especially because we're still in that energy of Mars square Neptune. So careful about the people that you meet. Don't trust people that you don't know, okay? Kind of look out for your drinks, keep yourself safe. Again, it feels sexy, it looks good, there's like a serious attraction, and yet it could disappoint us in the end. So just remember to love yourself and make good, safe decisions. We're rolling into the new moon now, mid-month, 22 degrees Aries. This is on the world point. I expect this to be kind of one of the bigger moons that plays out collectively. You're going to see a lot of action collectively as well. Probably not huge mind-blowing events, although the moons can bring that in. But like a lot of fast information, situations changing, the story changing, like this is true, no, that is true. Remember, we're in Gemini energy, so most likely both sides of the story are kind of true. If you recall back in last May, Venus was traveling through Gemini and she went retrograde. And I remember thinking to myself, when we're in Gemini energy, which I have a hard time with because I'm all earth and water, so the air energies are a little bit tricky for me. So I always try to remember the Tao at that time, like everything's about being balanced. Try not to feel too much, try not to get too invested, stay in the middle and remain calm. And so as this year rolled on, the nodes are in Gemini now, Mars is in Gemini, it's meeting the North Node. It's definitely a good time to keep that information in mind. It's always best, you know what's best. Separate from self, protect your energy when you have to, and trust your gut, trust your instinct, This new moon in Aries is all about trusting our instincts. Trusting, even when we're in bad situations, bad relationships, we're in bad jobs, some people tend to stay in that discomfort for a long time. That discomfort becomes their comfort. Anything that's familiar, we can get stuck in. Now, March had a lot of trine energy, and sometimes I think about that trine as where we build ruts. Well, we follow the path of least resistance, and the path of least resistance is just doing the same thing I always do. If I can avoid change and everything stays the same, then I don't have to deal with the drama. Okay, great, but then if you're not particularly happy with your life, you actually have to take action to change it. So March was kind of like here's your ruts, here's where you're stuck. And April comes in and it throws a bunch of sextiles, a bunch of squares at us all month long. Boom, 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 every day. And it's like opportunity, something that needs to be broken through. Opportunity, breakthrough. Opportunity, breakthrough. And if you look at every situation that comes up this month as, okay, I'm not going to take it too hard on myself. I'm not going to beat myself up over this. I learned from it and move forward. If you're honest, if you communicate, you could probably skate through this month and really enjoy some of the nice opportunistic stuff that comes your way. If you get stuck in the rut, if you put your feet, if you really dig your feet in and refuse to learn the lesson, or, if you get an energy of refusing to say you're sorry, or refusing to discuss anything or talk about things, again, you're going to stay in that rut. You're going to stay in that rut as long as you want. Again, it's a karmic month, making karmic decisions. There is an element here of the things that you choose in April are pretty long term, especially the end of April. So we're rolling into these new phases. We're rolling into the new us. And ultimately, in this Aries energy, we really know what's best. We know at a soul level, and by that we start to actually repel some of the things that we may have attracted to ourselves in a lower vibration. Again, if you're dating people or in jobs where you're really unhappy and the energy is toxic, what you found tolerable will completely become intolerable. Like, you cannot stay there. This universe is making you super, super uncomfortable. Now, middle of the month, we roll into some Pluto energy. We've got Venus square Pluto, then the Sun square Pluto, and then Mercury square Pluto. Okay, a lot of energy into the transformation. Pluto's still hanging out at the end of Capricorn. We've been going through this for a couple years. This is stuff that's lingering from 2020. It's things about the structures in our lives that need to change, and the Sun, Mercury, and Venus all making this square to Pluto are going to make them really apparent. Okay, this is the ruts, or this is why you stay in the ruts. If there are issues like self-worth issues, obsessive thinking issues, and Pluto can bring about like some pretty intense and fatal attractions as well, especially Venus square Pluto, I always call my fatal attraction. It can really point to how you are, and even with finances, those bad habits, those mistakes you keep making, think about Capricorn, you think about Pluto, and I think the Devil card, and it's like those things that call to us, that thing that says, yeah, but you could just buy one more shopping spree, or have one more bottle of wine, or, one more night out. And it's always that voice that whispers, go ahead, you could do one more time. And it's really an area of ourselves psychologically that's holding ourselves stuck in these patterns. We have to start looking at them, and we have to start changing them. We have to start acknowledging them. At the same time, we've got Venus making connection with Chiron, so we're in this super healing energy. The things that you figure out, the things that bubble to the surface, the underlying control issues within your life, A lot of things can have control over us. It doesn't necessarily have to be people. You know, it could be an abusive relationship. It could be a sexual relationship that you stay in even though it's really not meeting any of your emotional needs. It's where you sell yourself short and you get stuck in the bad habits and you think too little of yourself to make the big changes so that your life can actually improve. There's no doubt we're going to be moving towards the better things, the healthier choices. So right now, the universe is going to point out all of the negative habits that we have. We have got to meet them head on. And again, a reminder that Venus in Aries is going to say, this time I'm going to value myself. So maybe you made decisions in the past where you kind of didn't stand up for yourself or you didn't want to create a confrontation. You know, Aries, Venus in Aries, no, there'll be a confrontation, no problem. It could even get really explosive. I'm going to tell everybody, watch your tempers mid-month. Watch the way that you talk to people. Watch the things that you say. This energy can kind of make you say things you really will regret, like the things that you can't take back. Yeah, it's an intense part of the month. It can also be really intense in a good way. If you are meeting somebody new in the middle of the month, please be careful, okay? Again, we're still in that Mars square Neptune. Got the nodes squaring Neptune. You got to trust your gut instincts, not other people, okay? You could honestly meet people that are very powerful or kind of use their power negatively. People that are very manipulative, people that could hurt you financially, hurt you sexually. So you just want to be aware of those situations. You could meet somebody, there could be a really intense attraction, and then it could turn out to be, like a crazy Lifetime movie. So just be careful of that energy. Moving on into the middle of the month, we've got the Sun conjunct Mercury at 29 degrees. This gets really interesting. Not usually a big deal. The Sun makes a cazimi with Mercury multiple times a year. They travel very close. It's the degree that I find particularly unsteady. So at 29 degrees, Aries is, or was, for example, in America, the day that the Capitol was breached. It has that explosive, bubbling up energy. And because it's so close to all of this Pluto energy, you want to be careful of your surroundings, okay? This could be some kind of out of control, anger, rebellion kind of thing that we've got going on. And that starts around the 20th and it moves through the end of the month. So, you probably expect some sort of civil unrest. You could probably expect some kind of, protesting. Be careful in your neighborhoods. Just be careful of your surroundings. Sun conjunct Mercury at 29 degrees Aries also, in our personal lives is a great opportunity for you to really stand up for yourself. So if you're in negative relationships, in abusive partnerships, in jobs that take advantage of you, you're going to have the strength to say it. You're going to have the strength to change your environment here. So take advantage. This is just a starting point. We've got Venus conjunct Uranus, which brings sudden changes in, relationships and money. Now, this is kind of one of the times that Venus met Uranus in the sky was when that Robin Hood thing happened. So you could kind of expect something else like that. Now, it might just be a continuation of that story. We get a little bit more or something more happens in the stock market, but usually it's something collectively within the economy or, finances. So Venus conjunct Uranus in our personal lives is, meeting somebody out of the blue, breaking up relationships, it's sudden events like that you can't possibly predict, like a house catching on fire or, car accident. So, and I don't say that to scare anybody, but these are things that happen in our lives that in a split moment can change everything. And I think we're dealing with a lot of big decisions. And it's like that split moment when you make that decision that changes everything. It doesn't have to be scary. Sometimes Uranus brings some very positive developments. It could also represent with the Pluto energy transformation instantly with money. So, luck, gambling, winning the lottery, things that transform your life forever. So then at the end of the month, we have Venus square Saturn, and this can carry an element of isolation and loneliness. I am kind of leery of something happening where we kind of have to shut back down. I don't see it being a long stint, but there might be a pullback of energy. Now, the Venus square Saturn is the pulling back. So if you've had a crazy April, you went on vacation, you spent a lot of money, you bought new clothes, because God knows we've all been like in our sweatpants for a year. So it's kind of exciting to go out and buy new clothes, right? And have plans and go and see people, meet people and date. Like, that's fun. And then like the credit card bill comes and on the 25th, 26th with that full moon, 7 degrees Scorpio, again, another financial placement, another world point, ironically. Again, more financial developments. Of course, Venus is going to move, her way into some pretty crazy transits in the next few months. So you can expect stuff with the economy to really be unstable. Remember, if you want to keep a leg up on things, get some money in savings. Be careful with your money. Be careful with your investments. I know it's fun and we all deserve to have a good time this month, but there is always consequences. And when Pluto goes retrograde at the end of the month, like I said, that's a credit card bill. That's the consequences. So you can expect that to come in. And then there's like the reconciling with that full moon. In Scorpio, it's intense and it's deeply rooted. And whenever we have moons coming up in any of the fixed signs, Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, or Scorpio, you can expect some more big changes. This is the element. Again, everything was in Aquarius when the Capitol was breached, and that kind of changed everything forever. So, guys, we're in such an element of change. It's really important for me to point out, I know a lot of us are like, all right, I'm ready. I'm really ready for life to take off. I'm ready for these things to happen. And I think it's really important to understand that there's like not a lot you can do right now. Pluto's making all of these squares. You really don't have control. The universe has control. It's really, if you've been manifesting, if you've been doing the work, this is where you're like, all right, I have faith. The universe is going to bring it in. The Hierophant card, Taurus card, and you have faith and it works. But if you've got a lot of deep-rooted doubts, self-worth, value issues, lessons that you have to learn, guys, we're not in an element of settling. Uranus will not let us settle for any of the things that we settled for in the past. We're changing and we have to allow the changes to come in. So it's a really beautiful month, guys. It's super exciting. Just be careful and take care of you. Most important this month. Know your surroundings and take care of yourself. All right, guys, let's get started on the cards. Hi, Gemini. In true Gemini form, this is the second time I'm doing your reading. Okay, so I'm going to kind of dig right in. You guys already enjoyed the astrology portion of the video, saving me some time, saving you some time, so we could really hone in and focus on the energy that's coming out in your cards, which is clearly the specific message that Spirit wants you to understand this month. So, your energy coming out in the month of April is that of the Page of Air, and I love it because there's an element of surrender. There's also an element of non-commitment, right? The Page of Air is certainly not about commitment. It's about, you could be a little wishy-washy, easily, and I want to say easily manipulated, because your environment is that of the Magician. Now, I see this Magician in your environment, and I'm wondering if there isn't somebody that's triggering you a little bit this month. somebody that's reminding you or telling you, or something that's kind of dimming your light or making you feel a little bit bad about yourself. Now, I say that because right next to this page of air, which I'm getting this element of really being wishy-washy, like on the edge of, I want to do something, I want to take a risk, I want to say this thing, but then I don't. And the page of air comes out right next to the Emperor, and this is kind of the exact opposite energy. Aries energy, Venus in Aries. The Emperor energy is about, it going in a certain direction. And it's about taking back your control. Emperor, empowerment, there's definitely a connection. You may be attempting to stand in your power and authority this month. And yet, there are situations that are occurring that are kind of knocking you down a little bit. Now, the thing about the page of air is that it's really nothing to be ashamed about. It's really, nothing to feel bad about. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not slipping back. There's simply things that you have to look at, things probably deep within yourself. And this Emperor card, Star card, the Wheel of Fortune, these are all coming out very repetitive in these readings. We know that April is a very karmic month. There are decisions that are being made now in this time. They're going to stick with you for a really long time. And there are endings that are going on in April that are very much meant to come to an end. We're breaking cycles. We're starting new things. There's elements of us that we're leaving behind because quite simply, we want something different now. So I like that we've got the Emperor card here, and right next to the Emperor card is the Star card coming out in every reading so far. And the Star card to me is a key that whatever you're doing is moving you closer to your destiny. And I think that's ultimately what you want, to move forward and embrace your destiny. The Star card is all about the healing. And the Emperor is a lot about the fight or flight. And because this page of air has wings, I'm assuming there's an element of flight being activated in you. Meaning, I really want to take off. I really want to start a new project. I want to start the new things. And that Emperor energy can be like, no, but you got to take care of this. And the Emperor energy could be that element of you wanting to control the new thing, wanting to dictate what it is. And then we have this Ace of Coins. This Ace of Coins comes out right next to the Magician. Now, quite possibly there's an offer on the table. I'm just not so clear on the intentions of it. I'm wondering if the universe is kind of testing you to see how committed you are to this new life. How committed are you to this new way of thinking, to this new way of activation for you? Underneath this Emperor is the Nine of Cups. And next to the Nine of Cups, we have this antelope spirit. Life is speeding up. Now, the thing about this side of the table over here, we've got card number 2. Life is speeding up, and yet I'm so drawn to the way that this animal's kind of being pulled back. You see his head is pulled back. He's got, his horns or whatever tusks. I don't know what these are. Oh my God, I sound like ridiculous. These things that are kind of being pulled behind him. And I feel like an energy of the breakthrough, leaving this past element of self behind and moving forward. But I don't think it's easy. This appears to have some form of resistance. And there might be things that you kind of just want to bulldoze over, because the Emperor can really bulldoze the things. Okay, I don't even care. I just need it to happen. But there's also an element of you that's being held behind. And that's quite apparent because the next card out is don't let your past hold you back. South Node. Now you're hosting the South Node in your 7th. So this is probably talking about friendships, 11th house, or partnerships, 7th house, which could also represent close friends. Either way, there is a healing element within your relationships and the ability of others to manipulate you. That's very clear. And there might be somebody who's tugging you back a little bit. Maybe somebody that can say or do the right thing or manipulate you to make you not believe in yourself, to make you feel like you don't have the solid foundation or you are not good enough without them. It might be people or situations in your life that are making you feel bad about yourself. And we can't make a whole lot of progress when we don't feel as though we deserve it. There's very much an element of breaking through some pretty big karmic cycles and taking action and control back and empowering yourself. And I like that. And I like this center row of this reading. And I think this really encaptures everything that you need to know at this time. We have this star card, and the center of the card is the Wheel of Fortune. The more you heal yourself, and the more that you recognize that you are in power, that you are in control of your life, when you become untouchable to these energies that try to pull you back or pull you back in, when you become untouchable, life will begin to change rapidly. And it's really all about what direction you're going to go in. Now I'm seeing a lot of this Nine of Cups here, there's clearly two fish. And when we talk about, wish fulfillment and dreams coming true, I think it has a lot to do with your ability to connect with others. And Gemini, I think that you, of course, very deeply want to connect to others, or maybe even just a person. And yet there are elements within you that are holding you back from doing so. And those are the things that get brought up for healing. And the real question is why? Why do we feel like we can't ever meet the right person, or we can't make those connections? And because this 8 of Swords comes out under the 9 of Cups, there is clearly something that's keeping you stuck in this place, unable to truly believe or embrace this 9 of Cups, this thing that you truly want and desire. And the 8 of Swords is like all of those negative thoughts, like, well, I don't really believe in love anymore, or I don't trust my friends, or I don't trust these opportunities, I don't trust other people's good intentions. And maybe that's a problem. Maybe there's an element of you not being able to trust, and that really comes from a place of ultimately not trusting the universe. When you're in an element of wanting to control everything, deep down it means that you don't trust, which means you're struggling to have faith. Faith that things will just kind of naturally work out. Faith that the pieces will kind of come together. This is where we get in our own way. And when we get in our own way, we can begin to manipulate situations in order to have control over them. And I think there is an element here of you loosening the grip, allowing the energy to flow. Now we have this 9 of Cups, we have this Wheel of Fortune, and right next to it we have this 8 of Coins. 8 of Coins comes right before the 9 of Coins, which is the ultimate independence. 8 of Pentacles is when you start to show a profit, when things start to flow. And I think that's what you really want in your life, Gemini. I think you just want to see things start to work in your favor. There's a feeling like Gemini's been spinning their wheels trying to go in this certain direction, and they desperately want something to take root. This Ace of Coins is exactly what you are determined to go after. And this Ace of Coins is that final coin that you need in order to be completely independent of other people. 9 of Pentacles. I think that's your ultimate wish, is the independence. Maybe you found yourself in some kind of codependent relationships. Maybe there's been some more toxic relationships. Now, underneath this Wheel of Fortune, and this is what I mean, we have a Star card, Wheel of Fortune, and underneath that, the 5 of Pentacles. 5 of Pentacles is not a real good energy. The 5 of Pentacles is exactly what keeps you in the 10 of Swords. 5 of Pentacles is an experience of being abandoned, being rejected, being isolated, feeling like you don't have any support around you. There's very little safety. And maybe you are in search of the safety. And the safety is always within yourself. And you might realize this month that you make a lot of progress, Gemini, when you remove other people from the scenario. Now, the thing is, I don't think these other people have like bad intentions. I actually think that these people, these things are kind of serving a purpose. This 8 of Swords, 5 of Pentacles, and the Strength card in reverse. There's almost as if you're almost shown. This is so weird. I'm getting such a weird message. It's almost like, you know, they say like your life can flash before your eyes. And I feel like Gemini is kind of reviewing all of these past scenarios, really being honest about it, because this month is about that accountability. It's about being honest with yourself. Look, if you can't be honest with yourself, how are you going to change anything? We know things are changing. We know our life is changing. We know, at the very least, that we don't want it to stay the same. Right? And I promise you, when we have this big of a transit in your 12th house, the reward is in the release. When you stop trying to dictate the outcome, and 8 of Coins, you allow it to flow. You take the wins that come your way. You don't worry about the losses. You don't worry about the negative stuff. How do you do that? Easier said than done. How do you become untouchable, Gemini? Now, you went through an 8th house transit from hell, so let's be honest. You know what it's like to feel like you don't have power. You know what it's like to feel like you don't have control. And I see that very clearly because this Strength in reverse comes out right next to this Oracle card, card number 3, Chaos and Conflict. Right? I think Geminis had their fill of chaos and conflict. And I feel like there's a realization that you can no longer put yourself in these scenarios, and therefore you can no longer participate in relationships that put you in this scenario. And if you have people that continually want to push your buttons or tell you where you failed or pointed out your mistakes, people that keep you in this negative energy, anybody that makes you feel like you don't particularly belong, that you are not good enough, those relationships have to end. And there might just be an element of really changing your friendships this month. Now, it's really based on how you feel about yourself. And one of the greatest ways to change how you feel about yourself is to focus on gratitude. Again, easier said than done. Like, we know all these tricks, right? Like, when you're in a negative place and you want things to change, the only thing you want to grasp on are the current things in your life that are making you happy. You focus on that because what you focus on grows. Right. And then bottom of the deck, We have the the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, giving me very, very stuck energy. And underneath him is the Four of Swords, which is the ultimate release. Anything that's not working out or going smoothly in your life, feel free to let it go. Let go of the grasp, let go of the control, and let things flow the way they're supposed to be. You are not responsible for anybody else, and no one else is responsible for you, first and foremost. And as soon as you stop dictating how you think you want this thing to go, it's going to move in the direction you ultimately want it to go in. You just may not realize that right now. And I see this Page of Pentacles, and I feel it as a hesitation to really make the investment. And I'm glad for that. Because there might be people in your life that are kind of coming back in and saying, hey, I would like a chance to have your energy again. I would like a chance to enjoy your money again. I would like a chance to participate in the back and forth, give and take, reciprocation of your energy. It's really important to know which and where to invest. And there's a hint, it probably doesn't lie in anything you've already done. It's not a time to go back in the past. It's not a time to continue to find yourself inside the chaos and conflict. I actually really want to read this one to you. Card number 33. Disarray, being at cross purposes with another, and the tension of opposites, the value of chaos before order. Opposing forces come together to create a turbulent atmosphere, but consider the value of chaos that serves you well as you become unmoored by it. Scattered to the winds, you leave behind the parts of yourself you no longer need and disperse seeds to reinvent yourself anew. Although the conflict appears to exist externally, its essence is also internal, projected outward and causing disarray. You may find yourself at cross purposes with someone else, facing a storm you feel you can't control. Yet every storm passes, and chaos leads to a reordering of things. Conflict provides a way to see more than one side of the situation. Look upon this as just a moment in time when you may need to take shelter and step away from the fray. Don't be eager to fight. This is a time to understand rather than to be understood. The importance of this card, and I think the idea of all of this lies in this card. You got your oracle card this month is that of service, which tells me that it really is time to start honing your energy responsibly. Service. You stop using the universe to try to get what you want and start asking love to use you. You offer all and want to be of service. Ironically, many desires become fulfilled without grasping or manipulating. I like that because it's a change of perspective. Venus meeting Chiron in your 12th house is probably going to be a real moment of surrender. And with that, a moment of allowance. And I think when you give up the fight or the idea to dictate the outcome in any way, the outcome becomes sweeter than it ever could have been. And let's not forget that in the very center of your reading, you have the Wheel of Fortune. There is no doubt, even if you don't see it now, that the change is very real. Things are moving in your favor. Destiny is working on your behalf, and the pieces are coming together. 8 of Coins. it will all begin to flow. When does it flow? When you release control of the situation. I really love this card for you. I really love this reading for you. There's definitely an immense healing of some past wounds that make you feel a little bit insecure, incapable of creating those connections that you ultimately yearn for. And there's a lot of potential for healing this month. Healing externally in those relationships as well as healing within yourself. Make sure that you are not surrounding yourself with people that are attempting to manipulate you, Gemini. Super important. Don't let anybody manipulate you, and you don't manipulate yourself. And if you are experiencing situations in which people are trying to manipulate you, you might want to take a look at it and make sure that that's not a projection of something that you're doing. Sometimes we don't notice it. Sometimes we just do these things instinctively, subconsciously, 12th house stuff. We don't really anticipate the consequences. We don't really see anything of it. It's just that thing that we've always done. And it's going to be shown to you, and sometimes it's shown to you in external situations. Somebody treats you a certain way and it triggers you, and then you're like, yeah, but that's exactly what I tried to do with somebody else in the past, so I get it. And there's like a cycle of forgiveness and moving on. And like I said, there's an element of being untouchable. And I think your path, your destiny is a little bit untouchable at the moment. Meaning, Knight of Pentacles in reverse, the universe just simply isn't going to allow you to plant the seeds that aren't nourishing to you. You keep going back to old situations, old jobs, old friendships, and you keep trying to invest here and you keep trying to invest, and you just keep getting that door slammed. You can't quite grasp what you're reaching for. It's not going to happen, and it's not meant to happen. There are other things out there for you to do. And it's time for you to start embracing the things that you truly desire experiencing without controlling them. Trusting that the universe will bring it to you. In that, you have to learn to trust yourself. Beautiful reading, Gemini. I do hope that you have a wonderful April and a wonderful Easter and spring. It's moving towards your birthday season, so I hope that you're enjoying the warmer weather. If you're in the northern hemisphere, getting some time outside, enjoying the sun in some way, and taking a moment to appreciate life, because the gratitude is going to bring things closer to you, closer to your reach. So remember that. Remember to focus on what you are grateful for. All right, Gemini, have a great month. I'll see you soon. Take care.